yourself, finding that balance between effort and ease today. Just making a mental note of what you'd like to get from the practice. And now let's really bring our attention to the breath. It's slowed right down now. Thinking about your belly, let your belly muscles be completely soft. Let it all hang out. And as you breathe in, notice the belly rising and falling while they're going out and in. Just giving your belly freedom, permission to move this way. Even if we think about breathing in, we automatically suck our bellies in, but in fact the opposite is true. When we take a deep breath, our bellies should rise. We think about how a baby or an animal breathes, their belly rises and falls the whole time. Just holding the attention with the belly breath for a few more breaths. And then moving the attention up just a little to the ribs and the rib cage. Becoming aware of the breath as it starts to move the side body. Very subtle, all these movements, but maybe you're aware of the muscles between the ribs starting to expand and contract. Maybe you're aware of the ribs moving in the armpit area. Maybe you're not. Taking the attention into the side body. Visualize your lungs inside your rib cage, imagining them working away tirelessly, with or without our input. Now, very slightly deepening your breath. Bring your attention to your collarbones. See if you can become aware of the points at which the very tops of your lungs fill with air, and you might feel this by the neck muscles engaging. We don't often have our attention of our lungs right up there. That's where they sit. And then letting go of the awareness in the collarbone region. Let's start to follow the journey of a breath now. So noticing the cool air as we inhale through the nose, following it all the way down to the belly, watching the belly rise. And then as the rib cage inflates. And then as the very tops of the lungs fill with air. And then let's reverse that as the breath leaves the body. Just considering, if you will, the three-part breath. Three-part yogic breath. So the air comes in cool through our nostrils, goes to our belly, then our side body, and then the very tops of our lungs. So just seeing if you can visualize that process for the next few breaths. Perhaps noticing where you feel the breath the most. You might not feel it so much in your belly. It's a good place to try and cultivate greater awareness into the belly breath. Now letting go of all control and awareness of your breath, let it find its natural rhythm again. Take a few deeper breaths and maybe sigh it out. Doing a quick body scan, seeing how you feel, making sure you're not holding any tension, making sure that no tension has crept in here. Or perhaps realigning your spine, very tall from the tail to the crown of the head. And then from here, we're just going to drop our chins onto our chest. You can open your eyes here if you haven't already. So the only thing that's just moved is our neck. So we're taking our chin firmly towards our chest so that we can enjoy that lovely stretch down the back of our neck. Just going to sit with this awareness for a few breaths here. And then slowly bringing the head back to neutral. Then we're going to turn our heads towards the left. So just noticing how this feels on this side today. Seeing if you can let your shoulders be really heavy here. So it's only the neck that's turning. Seeing where you're feeling the stretch to the right hand side, maybe into the top of your shoulder. Slowly back to center. And let's go over to the opposite side. So looking towards the right now. Really make sure that left shoulder is nice and heavy. Straighten it. Noticing if it was different to the other side. My side certainly. And back to center again. And this time we're just going to take our left ear towards our left shoulder. So we're inclining our head, if you like. Making sure once again that we're not lifting out of the sitting bones in the right hand side. It's just the heaviness of the head being helped by gravity here. Noticing how this feels. And then while we've got our head in this position, let's just turn it to look up at the ceiling. We've got a different sort of movement going on here. We've still got our head inclined, but now we've got a bit of rotation going on as well. Just gazing at the ceiling. Maybe taking the eyeballs as far right as you possibly can. Feels a bit weird. Testing how your eyeballs feel there. And then slowly stopping looking at the ceiling, just bringing your gaze back forward, but so that your left ear is still over your shoulder. And then slowly bringing it back to center. Oh yeah, make sure your eyeballs come with you. And then from there, we're going to take the right ear to the right shoulder, very gently, seeing how this side feels. Really weigh down heavy into your pelvis, sit heavily into both sitting bones. That left shoulder heavy and down, really noticing the stretch all the way from the ear, possibly into the shoulder. And we're going to do that whole thing where we look up at the ceiling here. Really intense. And then maybe looking as far left as you can go. And then bringing the eyeballs back to center. Just returning your gaze to the front. And then bringing your head back to center. Maybe taking any kind of movements that might feel nice. If all of that felt okay, let's just draw a little circle with our nose. So nice and slow, just going all the way around. When you get to the points where you started, go back the other way. So no rush, maybe there's some clicking and crunching and groaning and horrible noises going on. Just noticing and being aware. The only thing we don't want is pain. Pain anywhere, just stop. Then once you've done your 2 circles, coming back to center. Just taking a moment here. And then very slowly take your chin towards the ceiling. We're going to stretch out the front of the throat here. Let your jaw be relaxed. And your tongue. And then back to center. Slowly starting to loop the shoulders up, back, round and down. We're doing circles just with our shoulder blades here. We're starting to mobilize. Maybe if you were tight in the neck, you can now feel where it's tight in the shoulder. We're going to try and iron that out. And then back the opposite way. Can you hear me all right, Em? Okay, good. I can see you fiddling and faffing. I thought perhaps you'd lost me. And then once we've done that in a few directions, just shake it out, do whatever movement feels nice for you. A little bit of a wiggle and a wobble here. And then bringing the fingertips to the collarbones here. So your arms are at shoulder height. And start circling with the elbows. For nice, big, really expansive circles. No rush. Let's take it slowly. Let's work out where all the niggles and the tight spots are. Work into those. And then back in the opposite direction. Noticing if this feels any different. Making sure you haven't lost any integrity in your seated posture here. Sometimes we can slump a bit when we're doing this. So always we want to be lifted and lengthened in the spine. And the very next time your elbows come round to the front, let's just bring them to meet. Make sure you're not wearing your shoulders around the ears, so slide the shoulder blades down the back so you should be able to see over the tops of your elbows. Just hold it here for a minute, just see if you can visualize the space you've created between your shoulder blades at the back. And now we're going to take the elbows as far back as they will go. So we're creating lots of space in the front body here, and we're squeezing our shoulder blades together. So really sit tall here. So the pectoral muscles at the front here are getting a good old stretch. Hold it here for a little bit longer. And then release. Ooh, and take whatever movements feel nice. Your body will know what it wants to do after we've held a little bit of tension there. I'm going to do one more for the shoulders and triceps because we all like to work on our bingo wings, don't we? So taking both hands up and over, placing your hands on your shoulders, tucking your elbows in towards your ears, and pull your elbows back as far as they will go. So you really want to feel the stretch in the triceps here. So this is very active in the arms and shoulders. Tina, you be careful of your injured shoulder here. Just do what your body is telling you is enough. But we should have enough of a stretch going on here, where we're almost applying a bit of pressure with our hands into our shoulder blades, but the stretch should be all in the tricep. And then slowly, let's just bring it down and have a little wriggle and what have you here. Lovely. Right, still staying seated, but if you're on anything, take yourself off said thing. So we're now just sitting freestyle. The reason we sit on something, or why it's beneficial to sit on something, it means that the hips can open a lot more fully and the knees can drop lower than the hips, which is great just to help encourage your posture. So sitting nice and tall, left hand comes beside left hip, finding lift and length in the spine, and we're going to reach up with the right hand here. Make sure that the shoulder is slid down the back, so we don't want to be up like this. We want to be nice. We want to be dignified and in an alert posture, but without scrunching everything up. And very slowly, we're going to start dipping into the left elbow. So this is a stretch all the way from the right hip to the right armpit. So staying rooted down, don't be tempted to lift off that right sitting bone. We want the stretch to be quite intense from the hip. So really weigh the right hand side down. Noticing where else you might be feeling this stretch. What other sensations are there? Slowly, let's come back to center and bring that hand down. Take a second. Right hand comes to right hip. Set yourselves up nice and tall. Really stretch those fingertips away. Elbows almost beside the head. Hopefully you can still see yourself on your camera. So it's quite a nice little cue for yourself. I hate practicing in studios with mirrors, but sometimes it's quite nice. You might think that you've got your arm up straight, but actually it's over at an angle. But just to be able to check in and think, yeah, actually that looks all right. So nice and tall here. Sorry, you had your arm in the air for ages. Let's go over to the right and see how the stretch is. We're stretching out the left-hand side of the body. So nice and heavy in the left-hand side. Really feeling the opening of the ribs on the left. So all the intercostal muscles are getting a good old stretch here. Make sure your fingertips are active and you're actively stretching away with the fingers and that your hands are just not dangling there. And back to center again. And let's take a moment. Then bringing your right hand to your left knee. Left hand comes behind your bottom. And use the left hand to just see if you can grow a couple of inches taller. So before we go anywhere else, let's just find that lift and lengthen. And then start to turn from the torso. The very last thing to move is your head and neck. I want this movement to start from here. So really feel that you might need to apply a little bit of tension with the right hand to help you get around. So remember, this isn't how far can you go, it's just we're introducing a gentle stretch here. And then once you've stretched your torso, you can hook over your left shoulder. Enjoy this beautiful twist. There's lots of things going on here. Probably active in the shoulder, in the hips, in the hip flexors, in the glutes. And slowly the neck comes center first, and then let's unravel. Take both hands to both knees and just collapse into yourself. The exact thing that I told you not to do a couple of moves ago. So we're really going to round through the back here, using our hands to stop ourselves from falling backwards. Chin comes to chest, really tuck the chin in. And then pull yourself forward so that you are sitting as tall as you possibly can be. Almost that your chest is being pulled forward. See the difference here. Having done that twist, it's always nice to have a counter move. And then back to neutral. Left hand comes to right knee. Right hand comes behind the bum. Push yourself up really tall. Let's find some more length here. And then round we go. Side. Remembering that this is a twist from the torso, and then you can take your head and neck. Noticing how this side feels together. Perhaps it's a lot easier, perhaps it's a lot tighter. And then slowly head and neck come back to center, and let's unravel. Do that whole seated cat cow thing again. So really rounding through the back, just doing a little stretch, opening through the shoulder blades here. And then sitting nice and tall and pulling yourselves forward. Lovely. Right, let's uncross those legs. I'm sure they have had enough of being there. Stretch both legs out in front of you. Give them a little bit of a pat down. Just taking a moment here, stretching your legs nice and long. Try and flatten the backs of your legs on your mat. Sit nice and tall. Turn the other way. So we want a nice upright back. We don't want to be over here or back here or anything. So sitting as upright as you can. Let's bring some attention into your feet. Flex into your feet by pulling the toes back towards the shin. And just notice the lengthening of the hamstrings here. And if it's possible, just bring your hands in front of your knees. So we don't want to compromise any of the length we've set up in our spine. We're just decreasing the angle at the hip here. So quite active in the feet. And then back to center and have a little bit of a relax, walk the feet about. And do that again. So we're sitting nice and tall, very firmly into both sitting bones. Nice and tall. Let's bring the hands, creep them forward down the shins just a little bit. So chin is tucked in, we're not leading away here. Not tucked rounded back. We're just nice and long here. Taking a breath, making sure you can still breathe with ease. Make sure these feet are still active. And on the next exhale, let's see if we can just go a centimetre further. So this should feel quite active in your hamstrings right now. And then release. Well done. I'm just going to turn to face you for a minute. Bringing the leg, lean your right leg long. Bring the sole of your left foot inside the right thigh. however high is comfortable for you. But we're going to be doing almost exactly the same things we just did. We're sitting nice and tall. The focus is always on the posture, keeping the spine long and lifted. And once we're there, we're going to activate the right foot. So really draw the toes back towards the shin without losing any of the length in your spine. Let's take the hands just below the knee. So we've got a few different things going on here. Hopefully the glute or your bum muscle or your hip muscle in the right hand side is just fired up. Your hamstring should be fired. Maybe even the plantar fascia underneath your foot is talking to you now. But also we've got this external rotation going on in the left hip. Just noticing how we are there. And on the next exhale, just see if you can find a couple more centimeters. We're not going any further than this. So noticing how your breath is, making sure you're not holding the breath. And very slowly coming back up to center. Now your choice here, depending on what's more comfortable, you can either just bring this left knee up and leave it there, or you can cross it over the other thigh. This brings a slightly different nuance to the stretch, and it's where we're aiming for. But if it really isn't comfortable for you, have the foot on the inside of the thigh. So entirely your choice. The benefit of the posture will still be the same. I'm going to cross mine over. And then with the right elbow, I'm going to hook that around the left knee. Now you might need to move some body furniture. If you've got big boobs, you might need to move them out of the way. If you've got tummy, you might need to move a little bit out of the way. But we want to hook that elbow round and then sit really tall. Left hand comes behind the bottom. Activate that right foot, and then we're going to look over the left shoulder. We've got stretching, we've got twisting, we've got all sorts going on here. Just bring your awareness to your breath. Make sure you're being kind and that you're not just trying to make a shape. You're really noticing where you're feeling this twist. It's a beautiful twist from the spine. And slowly head and neck come center and unravel. If that felt a little bit intense, I'm not suggesting that it did, but you might want to try the next one with your foot just inside the thigh, just as good. Right, let's swap to the other side now. So lengthening the left leg, bringing the sole of the right foot inside the thigh. Let's find your posture. So lift and lengthen. Let's activate that left foot. You're as tall as you can possibly be. Imagine all the space in your spinal column right now, which means that energy can flow really well. Leave you feeling energized. And then on an exhale, let's take the hands just below the knee. Remember, the only thing we're changing here is we're decreasing the angle at the hip. Still sitting nice and tall. Imagine that your nose is heading above and beyond your toes. So we're going with this. Breathe here for a couple of moments and see if you can find any more length here in this lovely stretch. And then slowly coming back up and bringing your knee up, placing your foot wherever it's going to be for the next stretch. If you found it difficult hooking your elbow right around your knee, you might instead want to just bring the arm on the other side of the knee and hold it like so. So I've got my right knee out and I'm just bringing my left arm over and then holding it like that. Sometimes it's a bit more comfortable. You have to play with these things and see what works for you. So we're working on twisting towards the right now. So left elbow hooks round, right hand comes behind the bum. Activate that left foot, so nice and active in the left leg. Sit as tall as you can. And then let's take a go in that right shoulder. Lovely stuff. And releasing the tension in the foot, slowly coming back round to centre. And let's give both legs a little bit of a pat out. And then the last posture, seated. Let's bring the soles of the feet in towards the body and together. It depends how open your hips are as to how comfortable this will feel if your feet are close to your body, but the closer, the better. And then clasping your hands, pop them underneath the feet. And you can use your hands here to pull yourself into a nice upright posture. Now, don't worry at all if your knees don't go flat. That's not the object of the exercise. The object of the exercise is to open the hip joints here. It doesn't matter that I can do this at all. The fact is that while we're holding our feet and letting our knees flop out, we are opening the hips, which is great. And very slowly easing out of that now. Let's just keep the feet together, slide the feet forward slightly so that they're in a diamond shape. Sit nice and tall, bring your hands towards your ankles. And let's take a bit of a pull here on the ankles. So using your hands to pull your chest forward, if you like. Imagine that you're sticking your bum out. That's the only way I can describe it. What we're doing here, we're getting even more length in our spines here. Lovely stuff. And then just ease off. Legs come down, give them another pat again. Super. Right, from here, we are very gently going to make our way to standing. So taking care here as you come up. Maybe starting to shed a layer because we're going to start doing some work now. We might get a bit warm in 1 sec. Too many layers off now. So, come to stand in Tadasana with your feet hip width apart. And let's just take a moment here, not looking at the feet at all. Let's make sure that our hips are above our ankle joints, that our pelvis is tilted slightly, so we've kind of sucked our tails under. And that we can roll and set our shoulders so that they sit nicely over our hips. And then we can very slightly tuck our chin. Arms are intentional, but we're not standing rigid like soldiers, but they're very slightly externally rotated, which means that the palms can be seen from the front. And just standing here, close your eyes for a second. Get the sense of what it feels like to be in perfect stillness. We're not often in perfect stillness when we're standing. We fidgets, we hop about from one foot to the other, being impatient, doing. We're just finding the stillness here. Noticing that your body's actually working quite hard to balance you. Right, you can open your eyes again here. What we're going to do, without looking at the feet, we're going to take our attention into our feet. So what I want you to do is start challenging your balance. So start bringing the body weight forward, just until you feel the toes grip. And then slowly come back, bring your weight into your heels. Let the weight is coming out of your toes. And back again. And then, oh, my telly's about to switch itself off. And then slowly taking your attention and your body weight into the outer arches of your feet. So rolling onto the outsides of your feet. This feels really weird. Notice which muscles have suddenly become involved here to help you do this. And very slowly rolling back through center. Roll to the insides of our feet. Noticing where you notice that, maybe in your ankles, but maybe in your lower back. And then coming back to neutral. Now standing here nicely balanced with the weight slightly more in the heels, lift all your toes off the mat. And then both feet together, both feet at the same time. Put the toes down one at a time. So imagine that you're playing the piano. Resist the temptation to look at what you're doing. Just see if you can get some sensory feedback here. It's a bit weird. And then go the other way. If you're laying your little toes down first, go the other way and lay your big toes down. Really articulate through the feet. 26 little bones in the feet, and they all need to get their work out. And then coming to stillness and trying to place your body weight evenly throughout the entire surface of what's meeting the mat at the moment. Toes very slightly gripping here. Now taking all your attention and awareness into your left leg. Take your body weight into your left leg and very slowly and slightly bring the right leg off the ground. Make sure you haven't dumped into the left hip, so we still want to be purposeful. And if you can, draw that right knee up and grab hold of it with both hands in front of you. So find something at your eye level directly in front of you that you can gaze at. Just for a few moments, we're just starting to challenge our balance here. Really, really important that we're able to balance throughout our lives. It's something that we do lose the ability to do. So to practice it is great. And then from there, if that felt okay, release with the right hand. So we're still holding onto the leg with the left hand. And start to raise the right arm behind our body. The palm is facing away from the body, it's directly behind us. Use the tension of the hand onto the left knee to help hold you steady. Maybe this is far enough. If you're really well set up and this is a good balance day for you, stand and have a look at the palm. Very, very slow. Very, very slow. You know you're going to go, put while you're ahead and come back with grace and elegance. And slowly come back to center again. Bring that right arm down. And let's lower that leg. Hopefully your left leg is quite warm now. Step it out, do whatever movements feel nice. So we're starting to bring some work into the legs. Now let's have a go on the other side. So taking your awareness and your weight into the right leg and slowly finding something to look at, scooping that left knee up in towards the body. Just taking a few moments here to seeing if you're set up. You might find it more difficult on one leg than another, and do you know what? It is not cheating at all. If you want to rest your fingertip on something to support you there, what we're doing is strengthening the standing leg. So it doesn't matter if you are using a fingertip to help support you do that. Do whatever you need to do that will help you strengthen that standing leg. Once you're ready there, let's take the left arm out behind you if you want to take this version. And if and when that feels stable, maybe this is good enough, just stay here. Just turn to look at the hand. You might find you're completely rubbish on this side, or you are fabulous on this side and couldn't do it at all on the other. Every day will be slightly different. Checking in with the breath all the time, make sure you're breathing with ease. Slowly coming back to center, lowering that arm, lowering that leg. Well done, guys. Well done. It's really hard. Sometimes you will definitely be better on one side than the other. Some days will be better than another. That's just how it is. So walk it out. Don't get frustrated. Don't ever think that you're cheating if you can find something that will facilitate what it is that we're trying to do. So now we stood in Tadasana a few moments ago. We're going to do that again. So just find your place in Tadasana where you're nicely balanced. You're standing with intention. Tadasana means mountain pose. So channel your inner mountain. And again, taking the body weight into the left leg, we're going to bring the right knee up, but this time we're going to open it to the side. This is half mountain. So we're getting a bit of a hip opening here as well, a bit of external rotation in the right hip. Make sure you haven't dumped into that left hip. So be as tall as you can be, and your energy is in a lovely straight line. Maybe the hand comes to the hip, maybe it comes to the side. Put it wherever it helps you. And really out to the side here. Maybe it feels nice to do a cool shape to you. And then slowly, slowly, slowly bring that leg round to the front and down. So we've had a nice external rotation in that right hip. Let's give it a go on the left. Weight into the right leg, standing nice and tall. Let's bring that knee up. Once it's there, let's take it out to the side. See how that feels. Maybe taking the arm out, taking the arm up, doing whatever you like with it. Just bringing your focus to the fact that you're balancing. Be active or passive. Notice what's happening in the toes of the standing foot. And then slowly bringing that knee back round to center. Well done, everyone. Ooh, and step it out. Right, we're going to do a couple more for the legs while we're here. So keeping your feet, I'm just turning sideways so you can see better what I'm doing. You guys can all stay where you are. Keep your feet hip width apart. We're slowly going to start taking our hips back, taking our bum back as though we're coming to seated. And then we're going to bring our arms up. And we want to have our toes completely off the mat. So don't check where your body weight is. So all our weight is it should feel quite strong into our glutes, into our bum muscles. If it's too much with the arms, just lower the arms and get a sense of what we're after in the legs. And very slowly coming to standing again. Hopefully your quads are all firing up. Have we got alive quads this morning? And let's go down again. Slowly, slowly, slowly. And thinking about where your weight needs to be. Really taking your bum back now. So that if you have a quick yourself, you'll be able to see that a chair is about to go behind you. Slowly pushing into those feet. Let's come back to standing here. Ooh. And one more time, very slowly. Making sure that both knees are parallel. Really lift and wiggle your toes. Just going to tilt forward until we're in a forward fold. Oh, it's a relief, isn't it? Do whatever feels nice with your legs here. Maybe your hands come down towards the ground, maybe they don't. Just taking a little sway here, maybe holding both elbows, swaying from side to side. Really letting the head and neck hang heavy. Then coming to stillness, tucking the chin right in onto the chest. And slowly, slowly, slowly roll all the way up. Nice and slowly. Well done. Right, from here, we're going to do a couple of sun salutations, and then we're going to continue the work that we've just started with our legs. So we'll take it through nice and slowly. Stand towards the top of your mat with your feet. All the way up. And then slowly out forward as we forward fold. Maybe you need to bend your knees. That's absolutely fine. It's the first forward fold of the day. We're folding all the way down. And then inhale, get halfway. So maybe the hands come to the sides. Maybe they come to the shins, but we want to stick our bums out here. We want this nice sort of almost as big as step. And then on the next hand, we're going to fold all the way down. And we're going to step right back. We're going to lower the knee, untuck the foot, and come up to kneeling. So we've got both knees in a right angle. We're going to reach all the way up. Sink a little further forward into that front leg. So we're in a high lunge at the moment. So just enough so that we get this right hip into a little bit of flexion here. Maybe looking up towards the thumbs. And then taking the right hand down next to the left foot. We're going to take the left arm up and look at the palm. So we're in a nice twist here. Just taking a moment to see how that feels. And then bringing that hand down next to the left foot. We're going to tuck the toes of the back foot. We're going to raise up. And we're going to take the left foot back to join it. Yeah, we all got that. So we're stepping back into downward facing dog. And nice and easy. So first downward facing dog of the day. We're just going to walk through the feet. Head and neck are nice and loose. Not yes, you can shake them. Just noticing how your hamstrings are here. If this is not feeling like a good weight bearing day to day for your wrists or your shoulders, just come down to your knees. Now coming to stillness here, setting our hips high and looking towards our hands. We're going to start making our way to that. Maybe walking, maybe stepping, maybe hopping, whatever it is you do. The mat, coming to the back, and then we're going to take a forward fold here. Just noticing how you feel, and then very slowly arms come out to the side, and coming all the way back. Arms come overhead, arms come together, and slide them down the body. Linda. Can you hear me? No, she can't hear me. Okay, let's do it. So arms come all the way up. And then forward. Halfway left. The hands are on shins or thighs. Or maybe you want to keep your fingertips on the mat. And then hold. And then this time we're going to step our left foot back. Lower the knee. And come into our high lunge on the left hand side. So already we should feel nice and engaged in the left side. And then we're going to reach the arms up and overhead. Make sure you're not over here. Make sure your shoulders are down. Maybe taking a look at here. Maybe deepening the stretch a little bit, but make sure the knee doesn't come beyond the toe. So you might need to shuffle your foot. Nice stretch down here. And very slowly, left hand comes near the right foot. We're going to take that. Noticing if it feels different on this side. And then bringing that hand down to frame the foot. Let's tuck the toes at the back. Raise up in the back leg. Take the right leg back into a downward facing dog. So once again, just making your way there easily, or into child's pose if you feel as though you're doing enough. And just play with it, walk it out one leg at a time, really stretching through those hamstrings. And then looking towards the hands, either walk, hop, or jump back to the top of the mat, and find ourselves in forward fold. Taking a moment here. And then tucking the chin right into the chest. Arms come out and up overhead. And then back down through the centre. Well done, everyone. Everyone okay? We're going to do a couple more of those. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, arms come down. Inhale, halfway in. Exhale, right leg comes back. Right knee comes down. And we're going to just set ourselves up here for a moment. Are we all set here? Sorry, I miscued that. What I want you to do is if you possibly can, we're going to walk the right foot back, so we're at a lot longer angle. Now you can either stay as I am doing like this, or you can raise up on that back leg. If that's available to you in your practice, that's where we're heading. So you're really driving away with that right heel. If that's too much for you, just lower the leg. We want to be in quite a good, we want this right hip to be really nicely stretched out. So that's where we're heading. If this feels intense enough, stay here. If not, I'm going to come up on that right leg, right hand comes to the mat, and we're going to take our twist here. So we're in a high lunge, sorry, we're in a low lunge twist. Really look up at the palm there. Lovely job, good effort everyone. And then slowly that left hand comes down to frame the foot. And we're going to take the left foot back to join the right. This time we're going to bring our body weight forward so that we are in plank. Plank is not a position for you. Come out of it immediately, come straight down to tabletop. But you can come to your knees and all the way down. Once you're down on an inhale, we're going to just push up into baby cobra. Bottoms come back towards our heels. Tuck the toes. Up we go to downward facing dog. Look towards the hands, and then we're going to step one foot up and then the other. Then looking down at the feet, tucking the chin, and slowly coming all the way to the top. Hands at the top. And then slowly back to the center. We'll do the so inhale up, down, really trying to work with the breath now. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale to fold, stepping the left foot back this time. And I'm placing the foot down and releasing there so that we're in a nice long lunge there. Or if you can take the other version, this version where we are stretched away, this is where we want to be. So we're really driving away with the heel. The hamstring is long here. Once we're set up, left hand comes beside right foot, and we're going to take a twist. Really make sure you're breathing here. Noticing how the breath is, trying to slowly exhale. And then slowly that hand comes down to frame the foot. You step that foot back to join the other into plank. Knees come down. And then half goes up all the way into the body as you lower yourself down into cobra. Once we're there, we're on an inhale, looking down at the mat, we're slowly going to rise just a little, baby cobra. Down we go again. Tucking the toes, pushing our bottoms back towards downward facing dog. Up we go, and then making our way to the top of the mat again. Okay, everyone all right? And on an inhale, arms come out and up. Inhale, arms come up. Exhale to fold. Inhale, extend the right foot back long. Place the knee down. And this time we're going to wriggle the left foot all the way to the side of the mat. So take your left foot to the edge of the mat here. And ease the right foot back. So maybe tucking the toes, lifting the knee and letting them slide back. What we're doing, we're getting a really intense stretch in the right hip flexor here. If this is too much for you, just back out of it or do one of the previous versions. So this is the ultimate version if you like. This is lizard pose. So let's just find our weight here, whatever version you're in, as long as this foot's got a nice right angle here and your hands are inside your feet, and we're looking down at the mat here, just using the weight into the hands here to hold yourself up here. If that feels okay, it's not too intense in the hip, maybe you want to lower yourself to your forearms. If that's a stretch too far, which to be honest for me today it is, I'm quite tight in that hip, so I'm going to stay upright. But if you're comfortable being on your forearms, do that. Take a few breaths here. And then whatever version you were in, come back to where you are more upright, resting on your arms. We're going to take the right hand towards the right edge of the mat. We're going to hug around our left knee and just look over our left shoulder. Quite an intense stretch, so we're really opening the hip flexor. And then head and neck come back to center. Hands come back inside the left foot. Very slowly start to push the body weight backwards. And as you do so, roll out of that front foot. We're going to straighten that front leg. And then we're going to first draw the toes back with the left foot. So we're in quite an intense hamstring stretch here. This is called a half monkey split. So it's the opposite. We're just doing a counterpose to what we were just doing. So hopefully you can really feel this is a lovely stretch for runners. If you're a runner or a cyclist, this is really nice to do after you've done some work. And then slowly let's go back through that foot. And from here, tuck the back foot, raise up, let's take the other foot round. And instead of going through the whole vinyasa, this time we are just going to step forward with the right foot to the outer edge of the mat. So stepping the right foot outside the right hand. Untucking the left toes. Just setting up here for a moment, seeing how that feels. And let's take our twist here. Taking a look up towards the hands, really feeling the hip flexor in the left, getting a good stretch, and then slowly back to center. If you want to take the stretch a little further onto your forearms, then do. I'm going to stay in the elevated position and just enjoy where I'm at here today. If you want to give it a go, do. And then everyone coming back to this upright position, we're just going to move our left hand to the edge of the mat. And we're going to put our right hand on our right knee. We're going to look over our right shoulder. There are lots of twists and stretches going on here. Slowly head and neck come back to center. Both hands come back to the mat inside the right foot. Tuck the toes of the left leg, raise up. Let's take the right foot all the way back and just come down to your knees here. Down to your knees, big toes come together, knees go to the side of the mat, so we're nice and wide here. And just push your bums back so that we are in extended wide-legged child's pose. The forehead comes down to the mat. Really relax into this. Maybe arms are stretched away long, maybe they're not. So taking your preferred version of child's pose here. And slowly walking the hands in towards the body. Knees come together. And tucking the toes here, so we're on our hands and knees, on our all fours. Let's just tuck the toes here. Try and get all the toes in contact with the mat, including the little one. And then we're just going to walk our hands back towards our knees. And we're just going to sit here. And this is everybody's favourite pose, just to stretch out the plantar fascia underneath the foot. So important. Just noticing how that feels. Has everyone had enough of that yet? So coming forward now, untucking the feet, just patting the backs of the feet onto the mat here. Let's take a couple of cat-cows. So chin comes in towards the chest as we push the mat away. Really push, 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 push. Very active in the shoulders here. We're separating the shoulder blades. And then slowly, as the chin comes forward, the belly drops. We arch, we hollow through our backs. Bottoms are sent back. A lovely stretch there. Once more in each direction. So chin comes in towards the chest. Push that mat away. And once more. Direction. Then come to a neutral. So wrists up below shoulders, knees are below hips. Taking the left hand, we're going to thread it underneath the right hand, bringing the left side of our face down to the mat. Do it the other way or you won't hear me. So our bottoms are in the air, we're on our knees, we're on our left hand, on our right hand, maybe lifting up onto the fingertips. You've got your hand in like a spider shape, but we've got a nice upper body twist going on here. If that feels okay, maybe lifting the right hand off the mat, taking the right arm high, so you've straightened your arm and you're taking it up above you, and then bending at the elbow, bring the hand down behind the back. Imagine that you're going to try and grab hold of your left thigh with your right hand. Just imagine. Yeah, lots of you are just about there. Just encourages a bit more of a twist in the upper body. And then releasing their hand comes back down to the mat. Going to unthread, bring ourselves up to all fours. And then we're going to go to the opposite side. So threading the right arm underneath the left now. Bring the face down to the mat. Lifting up onto the fingertips. Maybe lifting the arm into the air. Maybe bringing it down behind you to grab the opposite side. Just noticing what your breath is doing here. And then slowly, slowly unraveling, left hand back to the mat. Lifting yourself up. Let's take ourselves once more into child's pose, your favorite version. And then slowly walking the hands in towards the knees and swinging your feet out in one direction or the other so that we're actually in a seated, got both knees heading in one direction. Sorry, I'm not explaining that very well. So where we were seated, we're taking both knees in the same direction and we're sitting. I've got my knees traveling towards the left. So whichever way you're sitting, and whichever way your knees are going in, my knees are going left, so I'm going to take my right hand to my left knee. My left hand comes behind me. Round to the left. Really sitting nice and tall. Then slowly the neck comes central and we unravel. Let's move our legs so that they twizzle to the other side. This time, left hand comes to right knee. You might feel it feels a bit different on this side. Right hand comes behind your bum. Raise yourself up and take it to the opposite side. Slowly head and neck come back to center. Slowly we unwind and we're going to get ourselves on our mats lengthways. And very slowly coming down to one elbow and then the other elbow. And laying all the way down. Bringing the soles of the feet together again, like we did before, when we were sitting in Baddha Konasana. We're going to do this laying down. So this is This is a supine version of Baddha Konasana. It's called Supta Baddha Konasana. So we're just doing our final hip opening here. Soles of the feet are together. We're really trying to find some heaviness in those legs to allow the hips to open. If you feel you would like to support underneath your knees or wherever, that just helps support this posture, do. You don't want it to be uncomfortable. If you can't breathe properly, then it's probably uncomfortable. And so a couple more breaths here. And then slowly using both hands to ease the knees together. We're going to take the left leg away long. Right knee comes in towards the chest. Grab the right knee with the left hand. Left arm comes away from the body at shoulder height. And slowly, slowly, we're going to roll that right knee over towards the left. Doesn't matter if the knee doesn't come down to the floor, just see where you get to, but your left shoulder on the mat. And this is our last final twist today. And then slowly back to center. Hug the other leg in to join it, so you've got both knees in over your chest. Take a little rock and roll here, side to side, and then stretch away the right leg. Left knee comes into the chest, grab hold of the left knee, and let's take it over towards the right, keeping your shoulders down on the mat. And then very slowly up to center, hugging both knees in, taking a little rock from side to side. And then bringing one sole of the foot down to the mat and then the other. And then stretching one leg away long and then the other. And we're going to take our Shavasana now. So just making sure that you're in a lovely, comfortable position, supporting yourself, maybe putting on extra layers if you'd like to at this point, because you will get a bit chilly when you're laying here. So arms are just a little way away from the body on the mat. Let your ankles roll out sideways. Let your palms be upturned. Really check in with your jaw, make sure it's loose. And just as we did at the beginning of the practice, we're going to take our attention completely inward, following the breath, and trying to let go of any tension where you might find any. So starting to bring a little bit of awareness back into your bodies, perhaps wiggling your fingers and toes, taking any movement that might feel nice right now. And bringing one knee into the chest and then the other. And taking a little rock and roll side to side, just massaging your lower back into the mat. Taking a moment to notice how you feel. Then very slowly rolling out onto your right hand side. We're going to spend a few breaths on the right hand side, just letting the breath and the blood pressure equalize. And then very slowly making your way up to seated. A nice seated comfortable position. Don't worry too much about it. We're not going to be here for very long. And just bringing the hands together at heart center here. And bowing our heads in acknowledgement for the time we set aside for our practice today. We've united our minds, our body and our breath. Hopefully we've given ourselves a good old stretch and twist. Found a little space in all the nooks and crannies. And remember to take whatever you manage to find on the mat, off the mat with you into your day-to-day. And let's end the practice with just the acknowledgement of how truly amazing our bodies are. Namaste.